So I demand full participation once again. So for people who are just coming, thank you Putri for your very full participation. For everyone who's just coming, can you please take your seats and make your way up to the front? And can I just hear a round of applause for everyone for yesterday and today? Oh, that is mild. That is just mild. Can we do it again? And again. Okay. Manishil, I don't see you clapping. And I don't see you up here up front. Yeah, Manishil is running because Manishil did not join the sports session this morning, so I'm having him run today. Thank you everyone for coming to this very special session. As you know, every year Stream always tries to bring you something new and very different. And sorry for the people at the back, if you're not here to join the session, you can probably go and chat outside. Is that okay if I say that? Oh. Okay, Ranjana says everyone should sit here. I'm trying to be flexible, but Ranjana is being a dictator as always, yes. Okay, so we have a very, very special guest today. As you know, we are in the lovely city of Yogyakarta. And today we have a special guest from the Palace of Yogyakarta. Round of applause. Dari Keraton, kita kedatangan tamu. I want to hear a loud round of applause. A scream if possible, whistle is encouraged. For Gusti Kanjeng Ratu Hayu.
Oh ya, langsung.
Boleh langsung?
Okay. Selamat siang. Good. Well, it's not afternoon, but it's siang time in Jogja. Welcome to Jogja. I heard this is the 7th time in Jogja. Thank you for keep coming back to Jogja. I hope you really like it here. Not just like it, but really love it here.
I do.
Yes? Okay, good to hear that. So, I'm asked to give a little explanation of what we're doing in the palace. Because Jogja was, before there was Indonesia, there was a lot of kingdoms in Indonesia. And by the time of the end of the colonization, Keraton Yogyakarta was the only one remaining a free country. So we were not colonized by the Dutch by the end of the 1945. But after that, my grandfather decided that Jogja should join Indonesia. So we are a little different from other provinces in Indonesia because we were a free country, but we chose to join Indonesia. And that's why the government system is a little bit different. The Sultan, the reigning Sultan of Keraton Yogyakarta, becomes the governor. So to a certain degree, we have freedom to govern the province, and that's necessary because we also have a lot of cultural assets that might not go so well with the government of Indonesia, the way we preserve it, I mean. So I'm responsible for the IT and documentation division in the palace. I'm the 4th daughter of the current Sultan. He has 5 daughters. I thought that was a lot, but apparently we are not enough. No wonder the previous sultans all have a lot of wives and a lot of children, because we have to run the palace with all of its assets, its cultural assets. It's a lot of work. Yeah. Can we, thank you. Can we go to the next slide, please?
In Indonesia to hold political power.
Oh, okay, it's a little video.
While upholding tradition, the princesses of Yogyakarta who are in line to inherit the throne are taking steps to shape the future of their kingdom.
The thing is, with the hierarchy, only the direct descendant of the Sultan can hold that position. Currently, they are still held by my uncles, but it will not go to other people. So we are the first women to actually hold high positions in the palace.
writing a new chapter for Yogyakarta. Gusti Kanjeng Ratu Hayu, princess, advocate, influencer, and ASEAN's next generation leader. This is the special region of Yogyakarta, one of Indonesia's most important cultural pillars.
Keraton Yogyakarta itu menjadi simbol tradisi budaya yang masih ada di kerajaan-kerajaan di Indonesia. Sampai sekarang kerajaan Yogyakarta atau Keraton Yogyakarta merupakan kerajaan yang masih eksis atau masih hidup dengan menjaga tradisi dan budayanya.
At its heart is the Keraton, the seat of political power within the city since the 18th century, and now held by Sultan Hamengkubuwono X. Gusti Kanjeng Ratu Hayu is one of the 5 daughters of Sultan Hamengkubuwono X. It was in this palace that she was raised as a princess.
Kesultanan Yogyakarta sendiri itu berdiri pada abad 18 pertengahan 1755 atau 56. Dari daerah Yogyakarta itulah satu-satunya bentuk pemerintahan otonomi daerah yang memiliki pimpinan sultan dan kedudukannya tidak dipilih.
Now Gusti Hayu is taking the Keraton beyond its ancient walls and uploading it into the digital world. And it all started with her wedding.
Most of our friends are overseas, so we want to share it with them, actually. That was my first concept. We want to share the Japanese culture as well with all the tourists that come here. Yeah, we want to make it like a spectacle, so they because you're not gonna see this again for years.
Pada waktu itu menurut saya pertama kali Keraton memperlihatkan memfasilitasi media digital dan teknologi pada waktu itu. Dalam waktu 12 jam sejak kami melakukan aktivasi tweet pertama, itu hampir 6.000 follower kami dapat di Twitter pada waktu itu. Facebook page dalam waktu 24 jam hampir 12.000 like, dan di Instagram pun juga sama.
Gusti Hayu merupakan putri terakhir dari Sultan Hamengkubuwono ke-10 yang menikah, sehingga pernikahan itu disambut sangat meriah oleh masyarakat di Yogyakarta.
The royal wedding was a turning point for Gusti Hayu, where she began infusing IT into centuries-old Javanese culture. 3 years on, she is immortalizing the traditions of the Keraton through Tepas Tandah Yekti.
Cuma hari ini tuh berapa yang lihat?
We collect all evidence, not only from photography or video, but we do research as well.
The next part is how we publish our footage, our photographs through the social media, through the television programs, and also through our official website.
All of the old photographs, all the older manuscripts and everything, they are not well preserved. I can't do much with the events that happened a long time ago, but I can start now. So this is my legacy for the generations to come. At least I can preserve what's happening now. It's mostly just how the palace can still be the source of Javanese identity for ages to come, because we don't exist without our people, and I think our people will also lose their way if the culture that we preserve here don't get out as well.
With history dating back to the 8th century, Jogjakarta is no stranger to change. But in the digital generation, the centuries-old local culture faces a new threat of change. The danger of irrelevance, making Gusti Hayu's efforts even more crucial.
That was slightly embarrassing. Can we go to the next slide, please? My division is actually the newest one. We were only established in 2012. So the palace itself has been very paper-based, let's just say that, and very traditional in thinking. But because like it was mentioned, that in the palace we still have divisions where the head of divisions can only be held by the direct descendant of the current reigning sultan. So it falls under me and my sisters to get Kraton to stay relevant and to survive in this digital era. So when in Japanese culture, the one that hold the wedding is the women's side, the bride side. That's why it was, because I was the last one to get married in 2013. Yeah. My husband remembers it better than me, actually. My parents wanted to make it very big because we held basically all of the Javanese traditional wedding, all of the tradition came from Kraton. So we wanted to show the right one because nowadays a lot of the steps are simplified or even mixed with culture from other tradition. When the news got out, I got a lot of friend requests in Facebook. I didn't add them because I don't add strangers in Facebook. And they were offended. So, I decided that we have to make a website at least. Just at the very least, just to make sure that the media get it right, get all the steps right, because it's a three-day ceremony from morning till evening. I definitely don't want to go through that again. And also we want to share it with the international community. So I use my division to make sure that we record everything that was going on. If not for the media, at least we have our own documentation. Because before there was my division, there is no proper documentation. So most of the photographs were only taken by the princes who happened to have photography hobby as a hobby. And after they pass away, all the photographs, we don't know where they gone. So we started using social media at that time. I get a lot of questions from teachers teaching the elementary school and junior high that was concerned that they were having difficulties teaching the local culture. Even their students ask, what's so special about Jogja? That is very sad. So in 2014, while I was doing my master degree in New York, I tried to search online a lot about the palace, about the Javanese culture. I don't get much because there was not enough information about the Javanese culture that come from a reliable source. Most of it are just some legends, mystical stories. I don't know where they came from, So there's a lot of wrong information, basically, on the net, and that's very dangerous. So in 2014 until 2015, I started planning that the palace have to have a social media. We have to have an online presence. And starting in summer 2015, is it? Yeah. We started with Twitter. Can we? Yep. This is now. We have Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. With the most follower in Instagram, it's like 140,000 something followers. So the different, when we started making this, I tried to look at other kingdoms' social media, basically. In Indonesia, it's pretty much non-existent. Because one strength Kraton Yogyakarta has that cannot be replicated by other palace is that we are still one solid sultanate. Other kraton, other palaces, all of them already had power struggles with, basically power struggles. So whatever the one king does, the other one will always try to stop him. So we are the only one in Jogja, basically, that is still solid. What else can I say? In 2017, we started with the website. So actually, I already suggested that in 2009, if Kraton can have a website, but back then, all those high positions were still held by my uncles. Maybe it's a different generation thing, I don't know, but my request was denied because according to them, if the palace has a website or an online presence, the Kraton will no longer be sacred. I don't know. I don't get it. I still don't get it until now. I don't know why. But if the culture that we have in the palace don't get out, I mean, like, every tree in the palace has meaning. There is one that's called Sawo Kecik. It rhymes. Why is that one? Because it's a reminder for the residents of the palace to do becik, which is to do good. So it's just little things like that, but all of the trees in the palace have meaning. And people don't know that. Not a lot of people know that. And that extends even in the area around the palace. So for the website, sorry, I missed one point. When we were making that, when we were in the process of making the social media, I didn't find any for the Indonesian palace. I start to look overseas. The Japanese, they don't have one. The biggest I can find is the British one, but it's more like the Queen opens a ceremony here. Prince William and Kate Middleton goes to, I don't know, Africa, Canada or something. It's just like that. We have a different approach because we want to make all those Japanese culture into bite size and spread it. So you don't see a lot of the Sultan's family actually in our social media. But we highlight all the palace stuff. Once a month, we put up a profile of a palace, of the court staff, because the palace is not just us. It's all the people that volunteer their time that makes us survive, actually. And then we pick a topic, 2 topics every month, and we try to make them very shareable. Our priority is to get the younger generation to understand that they have a culture before all of those foreigners come. The website itself is a little different in style because when I was overseas, I tried to do a research on the palace and I didn't find much. So I don't want that to happen to other researchers. So the articles in the website are longer, it's more serious. And last, we have in March, we launched a digital library that there's only one entry in that for now, because during the reign of the second Sultan, we were raided by the British. And they took all of our manuscripts, and it took us 30 years, or until the fifth Sultan, to start writing again. It was estimated about 4,000 manuscripts were taken. And one of the ships that carried all those things from the Kraton actually sank. So we don't even know what we lost, actually. In March, to celebrate the 30th reign of my father, British Library also digitized 75 manuscripts that was taken by Raffles, 75 out of I don't know how many, but it was good enough. We started an online library so people can access that. And we want to show that, okay, the manuscripts in British Library, they are very well preserved, but they do nothing but resting there. They don't become something. When the British Library came to Jogja to symbolically hand that, there were 4 dense records in there. We reconstruct 2. So we want to show the world that when these manuscripts come back, they become something. They're not just looking pretty sitting in the library. Our next target is the next year's symposium. We will perform all of the dances that were returned to us, and we will have academics to write about what was contained in the 75 manuscripts, so we can share the knowledge that were there. And currently, we are trying to talk with KITLV, or Leiden University. We are trying to get the digital copy, some digital copy at least, of the manuscripts that is in Holland, basically. Because they were here for 350 years. They have a lot there. So we are hoping that the symposium in 2021, we will have new knowledge that came from the old manuscripts that were taken by the Dutch. Next one. We just started this in end of last year. So my team comprised of, we have about 30 people in my team. We have about 30 people in my team. 2 are researchers, 2 are IT person, and the rest, they are photographer, videographer, and content production team. So we want to pull everything, all the live streaming that we do. Test, okay. So a lot of the ceremony in test, okay. A lot of the ceremonies that we do in the palace is not just annual routine just to get the tourists to come, but they are actually an actual ceremonies where we pray we are saying thanks, and we pray for our a better future, and we have what do you say it in English now? I cannot remember. Where you give things to not really offering, but apa ya, sedekah itu apa? Donation. Oh, well, yeah, okay, you can call it that. So when we give to the people, basically. A lot of those ceremonies that happened in the palace were close to the public, not because they were not to be seen, but because the space is not enough inside the palace. And once you give an access to one photographer, the other wants to come. And then sometimes those people only think about the photos that they can take. So they end up ruining the ceremony. So now we close everything, but we do live streaming. And that's what we pull in YouTube, and we do documentary, about 4 each year, but we do a lot of short videos as well. So this is just the start. In the future, I'm hoping we have like a tutorial, we have an online course probably, hopefully just to make sure that our culture survives, that the Javanese people overseas can also come back to their roots. Maybe they don't know Indonesian, but I hope they will be able to speak Javanese. Okay, this is the latest toy that I got, a drone jammer gun. So with the abundance of drone lately, a lot of them just, I don't know, some people are just not meant to hold, I don't know, high-tech toys, basically. Some of the ceremonies are closed. Like even inside the palace, only the palace courtier of a certain rank that can go inside that ceremony. And I think it was 2 years ago, I just suddenly got a call. Like the head of security was like, there was a drone that came in. Yeah, so I was in a traditional attire, which is very tight. You are not meant to run in that, and I had to run. And the palace is big. It's like 14,000 meters square, so I don't even know where the drone came in from. So one thing that I held very, as a principle, that this is what my father said, that modernization does not mean westernization. That technology is not always the enemy of culture, but it's just a tool that we can actually to be used to preserve the culture. So it's not the other one is not going to kill the other, but some people are just not respectful to others. That's just that's just the facts of the world. So we got a drone jammer gun. But yeah, they still have to wear the traditional attire. So this starts with my division, basically. So every summer, we take 2 interns. They are US, college students. They come every summer with a USINDO organization to learn Indonesian. And part of their requirement is to do a 10-week internship. We take 2 every summer, and they have to wear the traditional attire. So the first orientation is to, how to wear the jarik properly. And they have to be able to do sanggul as well. It was a bit hard with Brianna, because the hair was braided, but luckily it was this long. So we can kind of twist it around to make it similar with a sanggul. The other one is the continuation with British Library in Leiden. We were working on, It's a IIIF framework, basically to make the library of Keraton Yogyakarta to be connected with their libraries. So we can we can pull all of the images that they have, and then we can put the catalogs. So we don't have to do like manual exchanges of hard drive and everything. Yeah, that will be from my division. And then the last one was, not this one, before. The symposium that we had on this March, the last March, it was the first time that we have that in Kraton. We invited international speakers as well, like Peter Carey and Annabelle, the curator from British Library. All of the people who have big names in Japanese culture research. But our aim for the target, the audience, is the younger generation. So we make the symposium a little different. We just want to get the younger generation to get interested first, to be involved with the palace. Because nowadays, we have to compete for their attention with all the K-pop, and in Indonesia, maybe also the danger of the radicalization and everything. So we have to compete with their attention in social media. And then that last slide, please. Yeah, so this is my family. So 5 of us, actually the first generation of the Sultan's descendant that lived together with both the Sultan and the Queen. Because this is the first time the Sultan only has one wife. So this also opens up a lot of changes in the palace, because my position and my sister's position usually held by men. But because of this, his choice of only having one wife, and it turns out he only has daughters, there are also changes in the palace that all of the high positions now are also held by women. Thank you.
Thank you, Gusti Hayu. More round of applause for Gusti Hayu. I think we enjoyed the presentation so much, right? You all enjoyed it so much, right? Monggo, silakan. Kita cuma punya waktu sebentar, jadi aku nggak mau nanya. I don't want to ask because we only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to open to the floor if you have any questions for Gusti Hayu. They're not going to get anything if they ask questions, right? I mean, like, there's no prize, just pride maybe. And certainly, yes. Oh, question. Okay, Mike, please. Oh, udah ada yang punya pakai mic. Mayor, sorry. Yeah, you go first, it's okay. Yeah, just because you don't have a mic. The ones who have the mic rule this room. Sorry, Mayor. Okay, please state your name and where you're from and the question for Gusti Hayu.
Selamat siang, saya Ira from Jakarta. The question is, how hard was it to convince the palace to go digital? Was it hard or was it easy?
Tarik nafasnya. She took a deep breath.
Should I answer? Okay. It was hard. It was hard. Because before me and my sister started taking over, all of the divisions, they are used to work independently. So they are not used to working together. But now, because we 5 want to make it integrated, everything, the first time and they are not used to having people, like younger people, come up and interview them. So they were very reluctant at first, and because they were really scared, like, what's the information going to be used for? So it was really difficult. But luckily, because it's a kingdom,
You have your perks.
I have the power of just saying, you do it.
So basically it's a bit like you, Ranjana. Yeah. Okay, so it was hard, but because of the power helps.
Yes.
It helps.
Yes.
Okay, Marianne, your question.
Thank you. My name is Marianne. I'm one of the WPP team. I'm half Javanese and half Eastern European. So even before I was born, family clashes over culture is a big thing in my family. So I know that Javanese tradition is beyond a lot. For everything that you do every day, there are certain steps that you need to do. Now, with the modernization, and you're trying to capture the documentation currently, do you have to select and filter which tradition you think that the next generation needs to see in your documentation? Or are you completely trying to do everything from every tradition that is available?
For currently, because we are trying to get the younger generation to be interested, we usually highlight the simplest one. But we do have a research team that, let's say, all the attire in the palace, it says who you are, what your status is. So not everyone, if you see the picture of the Abdi Dalam, like the kapara, the women Abdi Dalam, they only wear like a, that's because in a sense they are at the lowest rank. So the sultan's daughter, they all wear the kebaya. So even the clothes, it tells your status. So the one thing that we try to research and hopefully will be publicized one day, with all the event that's happening in Kraton, we have like a standard procedure thing that it says, with this rank, you have to wear this, and this. And that changes from one sultan to another. So we have a lot of simplification during my grandfather's reign, because it was, I guess it was after Indonesia was born, and he was busy with being the Secretary of Defense. So a lot of things were simplified, but we tried to highlight that changes as well, because everything, the Japanese culture starts from the inside, and then we apply it to the architecture, to the traditional attire, so it cannot be lost. It has to be highlighted as well.
Okay, thank you, Gusti Hayu. Is there any more question? I also want to ask, you are very present in social media, right? The Kraton. But netizens are also very mean and cruel. I mean, like, we can probably all agree on that, right? Right? The netizen is always right, they say. So do you get like mean comments, bullying comments? Of course. Oh,
Of
so
course. I started get to be bullied in like elementary school. So it's not a difficult thing for me, because when I get the good grades, my friends will say things like, "Of course she gets good grades. The teacher won't dare to give her bad grades."
Oh, so netizen is nothing, yeah, compared to
Netizen is nothing, because like nowadays, they can see you walk on water and they'll just say, "Yeah, that's because she can't swim." Right? So.
Wow. Any more questions for Gusti Hayu? Of course, Ranjana, please. Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for being here with us. You talked about what you want to carry on using the digital media, which is traditions, etc. Do you also have something in place where you listen to what your citizens are saying, wanting to change, and a two-way communication, basically?
The difficult thing with us is that because the Sultan is also the governor, some of them cannot differentiate which is the domain of the palace and which is the domain of the government. We cannot be involved with the government side. So all of this is only happening inside the palace. But it becomes like a pilot project before it can be adopted by the government of Yogyakarta. So we try to separate that, but I get involved a lot with the effort of Jogja Smart Province just to make sure how that happens as well. Because with the bureaucracy, things can get slow. So sometimes I try to whisper things to my father get things going. I don't directly get involved, but yeah.
Okay. So it's the palace is sort of like an office also, right? Where you have to manage, like you said, you're not
Yeah.
involved directly, but whispering to your father and to get things done and such. So it's probably not that different, but very different because she has the power, right? Yeah. Any more? Well, one last question probably for Gusti Hayu. And don't ask if you can be adopted into the royal family. I don't think that could be the question. Okay, please.
So, does the palace actually get involved in the larger politics of the country?
Probably not. Probably not, because how do I say it? Yeah, because of that position, that unique position of the Sultan is the governor. My family has to be very, very careful on not to meddle, not just to keep that separate, just to make sure that does not blend in. But political wise, well, my mom, she's a senator. So we recognize that we still need to protect a lot of things in Jogja from national level. So usually you see in like the old drama kingdom story where the queen just, ruling from the kingdom, but she has been a senator for the last about 15 years. Hopefully this year will be her fourth period in DPD. DPD apa sih? Ya, itulah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we still need a presence on the national level, but we try to not get associated with political parties because we have to keep things neutral in Jogja, because the people, once they see where we're leaning on, yeah, that's not fair for the others. Yep. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much Gusti Hayu. Sekali lagi tepuk tangannya yang meriah untuk Gusti Hayu. Ranjana wants to give a token of appreciation for Gusti Hayu for making the time here. Thank you very much. Ranjana drew this herself just now. Just now, very smart. Okay, thank you everyone. Terima kasih banyak Gusti Hayu. Now we're breaking for lunch. Don't forget at 1 p.m. we have a session with Darnesh and Himanshu here on stage. And at 2 o'clock we'll be starting the discussion. Happy lunch everyone and Friday prayers for who wants to have Friday prayers. You can ask for the mosque for Friday prayers at the registration desk. And I will see you here at 1. Thank you, everyone.